Hello, 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 beautiful people. Okay, I'm just gonna get all of my stuff set up real fast because I want to make sure that I can definitely see your guys' comments today. Today's video, like, we're gonna go really deep of like my year in review. And when I say that we're gonna go deep on like my year in review, we are gonna talk about a lot of things that I don't think like people would. I don't know. I'm going to get vulnerable is what I'm going to say. I'm going to get vulnerable. I'm going to make sure that, you guys get to see what leadership in a business like mine, what life looks like in a business like mine. There we go. Okay. I was like, where is the comments? Hi, Jessica. How are you? Okay. Let me just get this set up because I want to be able to see you guys in the chat for sure. Okay. So this year, this was a year. This year I continue to say was like my most difficult year to date, like in my entrepreneur journey, and it really has. Like this year stretched me more than any year before. This year like stretched my capacity for a lot of different things in a lot of ways that I did not expect. So, we're going to go deep on this. Like I said, we're probably going to be here for like a little bit because I don't want to leave anything out. Like I want to make sure that I can, hi Brittany. I want to make sure that you guys, really get to sit with like what this looks like at the place in business that I'm at, like what this looks like when you go from having your biggest year ever to having like an extreme dip, when you go through like multiple hard things and sometimes forget the gratitude and the good things that happened in between. Like I want to go through all of it because on paper, when you write down the wins and you write down like all of the good things that happened, it looks incredible. It does. But the truth is like it came with, I don't want to say a cost, but it came with a lot of growth, a lot of lessons, a lot of heartache, a lot of grief, a lot of fear, a lot of wobbling in my identity. It came with a lot of things that I wasn't expecting. And I feel like, it's so important for us as leaders when people are, looking up to us and they're watching us and, they're seeing what we do, that I think it's important for us to be honest and transparent about what it looks like at this level. Because again, on paper, it can look like, oh, that's great. Everything is easy. You have money coming in, your team is scaling, people are winning, like everything isn't, you're traveling, everything is just incredible. And it's like, yes, things are incredible, but that doesn't mean that we don't go through growth. It doesn't mean that we don't go through lessons and we don't get tested as a leader. Like we definitely do. And I've been tested as a leader. I've been tested, in my personal life because my business blends into my personal life. Like there has been a lot of tests. And what I have learned over, the last couple of years is that leaders are bridges and bridges are meant to be tested. And really how we move through that test, how we move through the pain, the heartache, the grief, the downs, the ups, like how we move through that with, dignity, grace, our morals, our values, like that really dictates who we are and who we become. And so this has been a transformational year for me as it has really shown the light on the places that I've been hiding, the places that I've been playing small, the parts of me that I have kept hidden because of fear of judgment or, what people might think. It is, shown a light on like where I still feel like I am lacking as a leader, where I still have fear, where I still have doubt. Like when they say that this year has been a year of shedding, like the year of the snake, I have felt that so deeply, like so freaking deeply. And I know that the year of the fire, like next year is the year of the fire horse, but that doesn't start like January 1st. The Chinese calendar, I think, starts in February. So like we still have some time where we could be shedding. And I think that reviewing our year is one of the best things that we can do, because if we don't intentionally review our year, if we don't intentionally review the good things that happened, the bad things that happened, then we don't gain the wisdom. We forget to have gratitude because we forget all of the good. And so not all of the good, right? Like when I sat down to really do my review, I, of course, like instantly wrote out all of the good things that had happened, which is like the big things. But then when I sit And I went back to like reviewing my TikTok videos starting in January. I went and reviewed my photos starting in January, and I went and reviewed text messages starting in January. Like I went and reviewed everything starting in January 2025. And there was so many good moments that I forgot about. There was so many good moments that I just completely forgot that even happened. So before we get into like the things that I want to get into, I'm just going to urge you as you're watching this, after you watch this, to go do an actual review. Because even if you're looking back on your year of 2025 and you're like, this year sucked, which a lot of people feel that way, like 2025 has been a year and it's not just me who feels that way. Like it just was difficult and it was hard. Like, yes, but you will find good things that happen in there. You will find good memories. You will find good moments. You will find moments of gratitude, and that will lighten your mood and make you feel so much better going into 2026 because you can lock in all of the good and take that with you into 2026. And so I want to lock in the good. And there's so much I want to lock in. Okay. So I did have massive expansions and massive experiences in 2025. Okay. Me and Tara hosted 2 masterminds that were both sold out. They were both absolutely incredible. My clients that I touched this year in my high, close proximity masterminds, and even a couple of my, a few of my one-on-one coaching clients had insane shifts. And for me, I had moments in working with some of my direct clients in one-on-one, like close proximity with me, where we had massive breakthroughs together, like massive identity shifts, massive fears that, they didn't even realize that they had, that we uncovered and we unlocked. And I remember one specific client, which of course I'm always going to keep like anonymity here, but I remember one specific client, like we were on the coaching call and we got really deep on her grief and how her grief is holding her back from building her business. And she was crying and I was crying. And it just like expanded me in this way of like, this is what I am meant to do. Like it locked that in so hard for me. This is what I am meant to do, is help my clients and help the people who are attached to my destiny have these massive breakthroughs, because that is what it's about. It's not even about the money. It's about the transformation that I can help people have. So that locked in an incredible moment for me. I celebrated my first million made with my mentor. I've made over 2 million, but since I started working with my close proximity mentor that I hired, we celebrated the very beginning of 2025, my first $1 million made with her specifically. And this was such an incredible call. And I love doing this with her because what we do is we pop champagne. I don't drink, so she sends me like a beautiful, expensive, bougie, sparkling water from Paris and from France, and it's so fun. We sit with the champagne glass. We celebrated the first $1 million made together and where we're going to continue to go together moving forward. And I think that this is such an important practice because you want to lock in the good, even the money good. Okay. I went on a mastermind in Paris. Like I have never been to Europe before, and it had always been like my goal to get to Paris. Like, what little girl does not want to go to Paris? Like we all have the dream of going to Paris and seeing the Eiffel Tower and, seeing the Louvre and seeing all these different places and eating a fucking croissant in Paris and drinking a beautiful latte in Paris. And I got to go to Paris. And this was one of my big investments of 2025. This is a massive investment for the most bougie, luxurious retreat ever. And it was some of the best money I'd ever spent. Paris really taught me, and then being in the south of France with Tara really taught me to slow the fuck down. Because as a manifesting generator, as someone who, like, I am fast going all the time, my energy is everywhere. I have ideas all the time. I want to go, 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 go. I'm always hungry for the goal. Like, as someone who is like that, I forget to slow down. And I forget that I teach you guys this all the time, but sometimes I forget, like, it's time to slow down and enjoy the journey. Because if we're not enjoying the journey and we're not enjoying the day to day and the beauty in the day to day, like, what is the fucking point? It's not about the goal, because you hit the goal and then, like, you're still you. And so Paris really showed me, like, I need to slow down. I need to take time to breathe. I need to take time to actually see the beauty and the luxury around me. I need to take time to actually lock in, like, gratitude for the little things. And so Paris for me was the biggest breath of fresh air. Like, the biggest breath of just like, I can enjoy this luxury. I can enjoy my life slowed down. Because again, like if you're just going, you miss so much. You miss so much of what actually fucking matters. And this has been like one of my biggest like reoccurring themes in 2025 is to just slow down. Slow down and enjoy every single part about the day, about your life, you know, because I forget that. And then when we forget that, because we're moving towards the goals, we're moving towards the big things, we start to take the little things for granted. And it's so easy to do that. You know, like I've been out of social work for 4 years now. I've been out of like the traditional like 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever grind for 4 years now. And sometimes I forget how blessed I am that I get to wake up and start my day when I want. Right? Today, went to the gym, got my coffee, took a shower, laid on the bed for a little bit, chatted with my husband for a little bit, chatted with my kids for a little bit, and I didn't start my day until like 12. Like I take for granted sometimes that life that I get to live and the freedom that I have today, because again, it's normalized. It's just part of who, like what we do when on the everyday, right? And so slowing down and actually like sitting with the gratitude of all the little things in your life is what is going to lead to an enjoyable life. And so that is what Paris reminded me of. And then even the in-person mastermind that I went to in Palm Beach just back in November with Tara was another reminder of like, slow the fuck down. You can make a fuck ton of money in your feminine, leaned back, slowing down. Like if you can slow down and enjoy the work that you're doing, you will make even more money. When you're Speedy Gonzalez and you're moving so fast, you're not even finding joy, you're not even finding gratitude. You're just like this strategy, that strategy, this strategy, that strategy, this mentor, this training, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Like you don't even have time to breathe. You don't have time to enjoy your work. And when you enjoy your work, you make more money. So this has been my biggest theme for 2025 is slow the hell down. This year, I'm not going to go deep into it because I don't have Tara here, but, excuse me. This year, we also hosted our first convention. We've hosted our first gala. We hosted our first retreat in New York. And hosting in-person events and in-person things has been like a dream of mine for a very long time. And we actualized that this year. And so really being able to be with my team and be with my clients and be with people who think like I do, who are going where I'm going, who, you know, prioritize the things that we do, who are in high ticket, who, you know, have all these crazy goals like me, like it's so good to be in person with these people. And so this was definitely one of the highlights of my year for sure. And I'm just telling you, I'm working through some highlights right now and we're going to get to the lessons. So don't you worry. We're going to get to the juicy stuff. This year, like we moved across the country, which was crazy. We moved from Oregon to Texas, and I have always been in my tiny little community like forever. Like the county that we left, me and my husband both have lived there our entire lives, and our family has as well. And so deciding to up and move was a very big decision and something that we battled with going back and forth with for a couple years. And we were just like, we're going to do it. And it's been one of the best things for us it's been one of the best and greatest things. And it was a test of just like patience and faith. We are renting a house because we didn't want to buy before we, got to this area and made sure it was where we wanted to be. We rented a house completely unseen in a community we had never been in. Like before this, we had been to Texas one other time with my sister and her family and her town, and that was it. So we didn't explore. We didn't fly down here and travel around and see where we wanted to be. We just figured out where we wanted to be and prayed that it was going to be it and had faith that the house was going to be what we thought it was. And we got here and it was more than we even imagined. And the friends that our kids have made, incredible. There's so many kids in it. The school is freaking fantastic. The gym that I found is freaking fantastic. Like I've been able to find things that, work for me and our family, and it's just been absolutely fucking incredible. So highly encourage, if you have the itch to up and just uproot your life and move across the country, like go for it. I want to see what Brittany said. Yes, one of my pillars that I want to focus on is encouraging my audience to bring more joy into their day-to-day. That is like the goal. If you don't enjoy the day-to-day, what is the fucking point? Amen. We launched our first affiliate course and paid out over $20,000 in commission the first 24 hours on my birthday. Like I had the best birthday that I've almost ever had. Like it wasn't even anything big, right? Me and my husband went to, a town that was about 3 hours from us in the mountains, and we stayed at one of our favorite hotels, and it was incredible. And I just felt so much love that entire week. I felt spoiled. I just felt like people care. I was getting messages from people for like a whole week. Everything was thoughtful that came my way. It wasn't even like, you know, these like extravagant, expensive gifts. It was just like, I don't know. I just felt so much love on my birthday in 2025, which is like one of my best memories of this entire year. Even with the dip that I had in my business, which we're going to get into, I still celebrated a $37,000 cash day. Like, I had a bigger cash day in 2024, so this wasn't my biggest cash day like ever, but a $37,000 cash day in my bank account. And then I also had like, it was like a $64,000 48-hour days, 2 days, another month. So even with like the pain and the grief that I went through in my businesses, which we're going to get into, I still celebrated like insane results in that way. Okay. So on paper, again, this looked like the most expansive year, and to a lot of people it is, and it's great. And I am so thankful for all of the good that came. And there's so much more good that came than just that little list that I wrote out, right? So many more experiences with my husband and my kids and my family and my friends, and, you know, even more travels that I went on that I didn't even touch on. Like, there was so much good that happened in 2025 that it can't erase. Like, I don't know. There's always going to be good if you're willing to look for it. And this is why, if you're watching this video live, like, me and my clients came up with this 2-day challenge that we're doing right now, the last 2 days of 2025, looking for the miracles and being open to the miracles and the gratitude and the abundance that can happen in the last 2 days of this year, because you can create beautiful things if you're looking for it and you're intentional about it. Okay. So with that, that is a lot of the good that happened in 2025, but we're already 16 minutes in. This is going to be a long video. So come back to this if you need, share this with your team if you need, like, save this video if you need to come back to it. And if you're on TikTok, like, go to my YouTube, because that's where I'm at live right now, and like rewatch this if you need to, because this is going to be a long one. But again, it's going to be a good one. So let's get into the cost. Let's get into the things that people didn't necessarily see on that I was going through on the back end, or like what I learned going through on the back end. And this is going to be like the real training on leadership, on growth and embodiment of everything that I teach you guys. I teach you guys this work. And sometimes when you're listening to me teach it, it's probably like, yeah, it's easy for you to say, but it's like, this year was the full embodiment of everything that I have been teaching you guys. This is it. So the first things that happened, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you already know this, but like, let's dive into it. I had built my entire network and my entire business and my entire community on Facebook and Instagram, my entire business. In December of 2023, in 24, going into 2025, in December, I lost all of my social media accounts. All of my accounts, I lost my entire business. At that point, I didn't have an email list. I didn't have like a second community that my leads were in, that my community was in. I didn't have anything. So I literally lost everything, and it was like 0 dark 30. No way to contact my team, because all of our team chats at that point were on Facebook Messenger. So lost my entire contact with my team. And I don't text message people in my team. Like, the only person who I text message inside of my business is Tara. Like, I don't let people like have my phone number. And so literally all communication with my team, fucking gone. And then my entire business, gone. No leads, no community, no nothing. My entire group that housed my leads of like 60,000, gone. Like, everything was just gone. This put me on a path that was extremely fucking difficult in 2025. And so I knew, like, when this happened, it was like, you know what? Fuck all of that. I'm not gonna let this get me down. No, we're not gonna go down for this. It's not gonna be that easy. And so I create new accounts, and I'm like, I built it once, I can build it again. And I knew I could. And so I create new accounts in January, and I start building, and I build and I build and I build. And then in April, my accounts go down. And I had just started getting momentum on my accounts. I had just started getting traction on my accounts. I was generating leads, and I was like, I'm back. Like, I'm back, baby. Like, you can't fucking keep me down. And I built an email list up at this point, you guys. Okay. So I took so you can learn the lesson, build an email list. You have your contacts somewhere so you can contact your people. But at this time, it was again, like I was getting leads, I was getting traction, it was feeling good. I was like, yeah, I'm back on top, baby. Like you can't ever fucking bring me down. And then I'm literally sitting in a Red Robin on a like Saturday or Sunday with my family, my husband and my kids, and we were like doing a family day, and we were stopped at Red Robin. And I remember like looking at my phone real fast, and my accounts gone. We disabled your accounts, both of them, Facebook and Meta, or Facebook and Instagram, completely just gone. And when I tell you guys, I sobbed in the middle of this fucking Red Robin because I didn't know what to do. And then I'm sitting here, my accounts get disabled. My husband's sitting right next to me. His Facebook gets disabled. I don't know how, but they found him through me. His gets disabled. So I'm fucking sobbing. I don't know what to do. I can't do this anymore. Like, should I do this anymore? I don't know if I should do this anymore. And again, it's like, I don't have a choice. We're going to do this again because my mission is too big. My impact is too big. My business is too big. What I'm doing is too big. At this point, my business had already done like 40 million in sales or something stupid, 40, 50 million in sales. It's like, I can't not do this. I'm just going to have to figure out another way. And that is one of the biggest lessons that we have to learn as CEOs is that we will be constantly pivoting. If it's not this that happens to you, it's going to be that. If it's not that happens to you, it's going to be this. Like there is going to be challenges along your journey, along the way. You are going to have to learn how to pivot, which is why as entrepreneurs, we have to be okay with being uncomfortable because you are never going to get comfortable. If you get comfortable, get scared because being comfortable doesn't mean growth. And we like to be thrown curveballs as entrepreneurs. So you can learn from my lessons though. Make sure that you have an email list. Make sure that your team chats are not inside of a platform that can just be taken like that, like Telegram or Discord or something like that is going to be the best place for that. And you're going to have to pivot. So have a backup plan. I teach my team at this point, like if you're building an online social media business, don't have it just be under one social media account, right? So don't just have Meta. Make sure you have Meta and TikTok. Don't just have TikTok. Make sure you have TikTok and Meta. Or if you don't like Meta, have LinkedIn or have Lemonade or have, X, Twitter or whatever. Like make sure you have other social media accounts in play so that if one goes down, it does not completely destroy your business like it did mine. It destroyed my business. Okay? It destroyed my fucking business. And so I picked myself up in April. I'm like, I'm going to keep going. What am I going to do? I'm going to fucking do it again. So I create new accounts and I start building on these accounts again. And then I had already learned my lesson. So I started somewhat building on TikTok, but I was so like not against TikTok, but it wasn't comfortable for me. I didn't understand how to grow on TikTok. I didn't understand how to scale. Like I could scale anyone on Facebook and Instagram. That is so easy for me. But TikTok felt like a whole new world, and I didn't have a mentor that had scaled there before. So I literally was throwing spaghetti at the wall trying to figure out how to make it work. And so I was in this leeway in most of the year where it was like, I am just like hands in the air. I don't know what to do because I don't have Meta. They keep getting taken down. I don't really care for TikTok as much as I can't figure out TikTok in the way that I want to. Sorry, people on TikTok, but like I couldn't figure out TikTok like I wanted to. Like, what do I do? And for so long, I played the victim as like I was forced into a box that I didn't want to be in. And from the outside looking in, it wouldn't look that way. It was like, Jessica just keeps going. Jessica just defies the odds. Jessica's just fucking resilient. And on the back end, like people would send me messages being like, you are so resilient. Like, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I hear messages of like, man, I thought you blocked me on Facebook. I couldn't find you. And I found you on TikTok. Like, damn, I can't believe all the stuff you've been through. And there was a point where I was just like, stop messaging me that you're proud of me and how resilient I am. Because there was a moment where I was just like, I want to flip the desk. Like, I want to flip the desk. I'm over it. This is too hard. This is fucking frustrating. Like, I didn't want to do it anymore. And that was very short-lived, but that is the truth. Again, especially if you're in my team watching this, or, you're one of my followers, it looks like I'm always together and I'm always put together. Like on back end, there was a lot of tears in 2025. A lot of tears of frustration being like, why am I being pushed into this fucking box? Why is nothing I'm doing working? How did I go from 2024 making almost $1 million in cash to my income dipping so fucking bad because I lost my entire business? Like, how do you handle that? And it just felt like it never stopped, right? Because then in July, I had an Instagram account that I was building. It was my original one that didn't get taken down. I just stopped using it because it almost got taken down. And I finally started posting on it again very cautiously. And then in July, they took that. Completely metaless. Like I had no connection to the outside world. And so this was one of the hardest parts for me because my entire team, my entire community, I have a beautiful fucking community, and my entire community was either on Instagram or Facebook. No one else is on TikTok full time like I am. And so I was going through these motions of like feeling like every time I'd pick myself back up and I would be like, fuck it, I'm going to do it again. Like I'm here for my team. I'm here for me. I'm here for my mission. It was like something would come and just fucking cut me off at my knees, like just with an axe, like sit down, Jessica. And it just felt like no matter what I did, I kept getting knocked down. I'd get back up and I kept getting punched in the face. I'd get back up, I'd get punched in the face again. It just felt hard. It felt difficult. And my income had dipped. My monthlies had dipped. Like I wasn't closing 5 to 7 direct sales every single month like I was before. I was not having $100,000 cash months like I was before. I was alienated from my community and I felt so alone. I felt so alone. You know, I spent $6,000 with this dude who was supposed to get me my original Facebook back. He got Tara's back, never got mine back. Dude ran away with my $6,000. So, and then other people on the team were creating accounts. Their accounts were sticking. I literally was by myself on a deserted island and I felt so lost. My mentor, she runs all of her programs on Facebook. I couldn't see any of my program. I couldn't even connect with my mentor in the way that makes the most impact. Like when I tell you behind the scenes, it was fucking hard. It was fucking hard. But what I learned from that and what I realized from that is that whenever we're being pushed into what we feel like is a box, like usually it's leading us somewhere that like we're supposed to go. So the lesson that I've learned is that I'm not supposed to be over there. Like there are like bigger opportunities that are waiting for me on TikTok and YouTube. I know that. There are people that I'm supposed to reach. There is another way that I'm supposed to do this. Like, and once I started leaning into that and trusting that this wasn't happening to me, this was happening for me, when I really leaned into that faith and that trust, that's when things started happening again. That's when leads started really coming in again. That's when my TikTok started to scale from 2,000 followers to I think I have now almost 16,000 followers. Like YouTube started generating leads. Like things started to happen once I released that victim stance of being like, why is this happening to me? And realizing that, what do I teach my team? What do I teach the people who follow me? Everything is always happening for a reason. Nothing is happening to us. Everything is happening for us. So if I believe that enough to say it, if I believe in the manifestation prayer of this or something better, then I need to embody that. And that's what I've really been working on this last since July of 2025 has been embodying this or something better. I believe in that faith. I know that I'm going where I'm supposed to go. I'm not being pushed into a box. I'm being pushed into bigger opportunities. And so that is like one of my biggest lessons with this whole experience of Meta over 2025. Okay. That is just one major lesson of 2025, but it is one of the biggest ones. Okay. That along with slowing down, the two biggest lessons that I had to learn in 2025 that I'm still learning. Okay. I am still grappling with this. So the other one of my other lessons of 2025, which people are either gonna judge me or you guys are gonna vibe with me. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Taxes. Okay. So if you have been following, if you follow entrepreneurs, coaches in the online space, people who make a fuck ton of money, they talk, or money manifestation coaches, they all talk about taxes, not being afraid of taxes, because a lot of people have this big fear of taxes, which holds them back from making money. I didn't think that I had that fear. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna make a bunch of money. If Uncle Sam wants to take a cut of my money, like let him, sure. But when I tell you that I had a lot to learn in the realm of holding a lot of money and doing it the right way, responsibly, like I had to learn. So let's get vulnerable here. No one in my money has ever made, or no one in my family has ever made money like I do. No one. So most people in my family, like some of them have like, they're fine in accordance to like the economy. Like they have their houses, they have their cars, they work jobs, like they're fine. A lot of my family struggles with debt. My family just hasn't made the money that I have. No one has made like generational wealth. And so I've never known anyone who has made a lot of money ever. And so I've been building my business as an entrepreneur, as someone who makes a lot of money based on just like vibes and learning along the way. And for me and my human design, I am a 3-5, which means that the 3 line in me is all about trial and error. Like that's what I do. And I am here to embody that for other people, that like trial and error, and here you can learn from me. So here's like one of the biggest things you can learn from me and the lessons that I had. Like I said, in 2023, I had like how much did I make? I think I made like a little over $200,000 in 2023. 200,000. 2024 came. I had the biggest jump, the biggest quantum fucking leap of my life, and I made $850,000 in 2024. I did not know how to hold that. As a person, like I'm in long-term recovery. I come from addiction. I come from, poor middle class family. Like we never had a ton. And then me and my husband, we've been together for 11 years and we've always been okay. We've had jobs, like we've had careers, we've had enough, but like we've never had an abundance. We've never had an overflow. When I tell you, I had so much overflow that I was like a kid in a fucking candy store. I was like, I want that. I want this. We're going to buy that. We're going to go here. We're going to travel there. We're taking the kids here. Like so much abundance. I didn't know how to hold it the right way. And I'll just always be vulnerable and transparent with you guys, because I don't think lying about this and trying to like keep this perfect image of a perfectionism is fucking real. So I didn't know how to hold that. Like when we talk about holding, this is what I mean. You can get to the point with your money blocks that you can start to make money, but holding money, like letting your bank account really grow, letting your investments really grow, can sometimes feel really scary to your nervous system. And that's kind of where I was at. Like our investments were growing, bank account was growing. I was like, whew, we have a lot. I didn't even realize that I was doing this, but this is definitely what I did. I didn't have the capacity to hold this wealth yet. I had a lot of lessons that I needed to learn, which is what 2025 brought me. So taxes. When I tell you, okay, also, I guess backstory, up until this point in 2024, I didn't have a CPA until like the last part of the year. When I was making $100,000 per month, I was like, I need to hire a CPA because my husband was tired of doing the taxes for us. My expenses were getting so big. My income was getting so big. Money was all over the place. My husband was like, we need a CPA. And I was like, I agree. Like, let's get a CPA. So then when my CPA does my tax return in the beginning part of 2025, and it's coming apart like March, she's sitting us down and she's like, hey, so this is where we're at. Here's your income. Here's your expenses. Here's that. Like, here's your estimate. And when I tell you this estimate of like 300 and something like $1,000, I was not prepared. Let's just say that. Did not save nearly like I should have. Did not, my nervous system, when I saw that number, when I saw what the fucking picture actually looked like, thought I was going to throw up everywhere. My husband thought I was going to throw up everywhere. Like our nervous systems were not ready for the conversation that we had. And so taxes are going to be a part of it. If you want to make a fuck ton of money, like there's so much that comes with it. Being able to hold the wealth, being able to multiply the wealth, being able to manage the wealth, being able to set aside appropriately for taxes, being able to just manage all of this is a lot. Especially when you have a quantum leap like that, when you go from $200,000 in a year to almost $1 million in a year, like that was a lot. And I'm grateful for the experience, but that caused me a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervous system deregulation in 2025 that I could have avoided had I known this, but I didn't. Right? Like these, again, I'm not having these conversations with people on the daily. No one I know in my personal life has ever made almost $1 million in a year. Like, what is that? No one. And then my mentor, of course, I'm working with her, but we were talking about how to make more money and, other things that I needed. And I was manifesting the fuck out of that money. But we didn't talk about like how to really prepare for this. So I'm just grateful at this point in my life that I'm only 31 years old. I have a lot of lessons to learn, and I know that. So the difference is there's going to be people who have the experience where they make a fuck ton of money and then they get the tax bill and they let that take them out the game because they're like, F that, I'm never doing that again. Like, I can't manage that. I can't hold that. And for me, it's like, I learned a very big lesson, so I know what to do different. So I know how to prepare better. So I actually put my money, like for me, my new vibe for 2020, like going into 2026 is like, it's sexy to have a fat bank account. Like it's hot as hell to have, hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments. Like, I don't want to touch my investments. Once they're there, they're there. I don't want to use my investments to pay my fucking taxes. Like, once it's there, it's there. And that feels good. So that's the vibe going into 2026. So again, not to scare you and be like, don't make money. It's like, make a fuck ton of money, but hire the CPA a hell of a lot earlier than I did. And also have these conversations with your mentor about the capacity to hold it, because anyone can make money and anyone can spend money. This is why, lottery winners, most lottery winners like go bankrupt at some point. I don't remember the percentage, but it's a very high percentage of like lottery winners who, claim bankruptcy later down the road because they don't have the capacity to hold it. And so that's the biggest lesson, is like, that's also my conversation, is I have proven that I know how to make money, but now I want to prove that I know how to hold it and compound that money and build incredible investments for my family to really create generational wealth. That's the big lesson. Whew, that is a good one. Yes, but curious, what are you making money on? I do high ticket sales with the #1 high ticket affiliate marketing company. You can go to the link in my bio, apply for one-on-one mentorship, and get instant access to my masterclass that goes over exactly how. Okay, so my next one was in 2025, in this last part of 2025, not my last one, I have 2 more. I hired a content editor. Now, this content editor also, laid out my content for the month. She did research based on me, how I create content. She did research based on, the trends and people in my niche and my business and all these kinds of things. And then she would lay out a content schedule, content calendar for me for 30 days in advance. And then I would pre-record all of this content, and then I would send it to her. She would edit it and she would upload it and all these kinds of things. I learned very quickly in month 2 that I hated not being attached to my content. Like, I hated not being in control of my content. And I should have known this, because one of the things that I tell my girls all the time when I was building Facebook especially is, I'm not the kind of person where I would create content and I would schedule it to post later. I never batched content. Like, the way that I built my platforms and the way that I built my Facebook account was, I create content when I'm inspired. I create content when I'm like, oh shit, in the moment, this is what I want to talk about. This is where I want to go. This just happened. Let's talk about it. Like, this just happened. Let's go here. Like, I create content based on inspiration. And so when I gave away the reins and thinking that it would help me grow faster, gave away the reins. She gave me topics. I would riff on it. I would create the content based on what she said. I hated it. I felt so disconnected from my content. I felt so disconnected from my audience. I felt just completely disconnected from everything. And so, yes, it was nice to like record videos and then send it to her to edit. But again, for me, like, I do best when I am like in my business. So I don't use ChatGPT to like create my emails. I don't use ChatGPT to create my captions. I don't use ChatGPT. Like, if you guys see like my carousels and stuff, I'm the one creating the content that's on those carousels. Like, I like to be in my content. And for a lot of this is again, one of the biggest lessons was like comparing myself to others. A lot of people that scale quickly on social media, they use editors, they use people who help create their content, and they batch content, and they do this and they do that. And I'm just like, for me, the way that you make a fuck ton of money and the way that you really scale energetically is by, for me, being attached to my content, being in my content. Like, that feels the best to me. That feels the most authentic to me. So when you see me post, thanks for the hearts. When you see me post, when you see a written piece of content, when you see anything, just like, that's me being inspired and creating the content. And so I had to spend quite a bit of money hiring someone, spend quite a bit of time, managing this person, creating this content, shifting this content, being like, I don't like that. Let's try this, that, and the third. I wasted a lot of time, which again, I don't really think it's wasted. It's a lesson learned, but I have a lot of time with this person, a lot of money with this person, where I was just like, this is not my vibe for me. And so no matter what, like, I know that I can't just outsource every part of my business. That doesn't feel good to me. And, a couple of my mentors that are making $1 million a month, a couple $1 million per month, they do say the same thing as well, where they stay connected to their content, where they're the ones creating their email copy. They're the ones creating their long form content. They're obviously the ones creating their reels and things like that. But then you also have these other people who say, well, they do best when they batch content. They do best when they, outsource these things. So again, it's not a one size fits all in business. And I think in entrepreneurship, that's one of the best things that we need to tap into is like knowing that like we have to try different things. And just because one thing works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And so you have to be okay with quote unquote failures. You have to be okay with these lessons, because if not, then you'll make it mean something about you. So I could have made it mean something about me with this content editor being like, I am obviously just not meant for this. Like, I can't do this. This isn't good. Like, maybe I need to hire someone else. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I'm just bad at this. But it's like, no, I tried it on for size, did not like it, got rid of it. And I feel more connected to my audience again. I feel more connected to my business again. And so again, you're going to try things on. And if they don't fit, they don't fit. You just try something different. So, one of my mentors, my closest proximity mentor that I work with, I'm going into year 3 with her. She always talks about how it's like, she did everything in her business completely backwards of what people say that you should do. People, for her entire journey, people were telling her, well, you need a website, you need funnels, you need this. And like, when you realize that this doesn't work, you'll come hire me because I'll teach you how to do this. And you need that and you need this. And she was like, I'm going to fucking prove to you guys that I don't need any of that. And over the last 5 years, she has built a $100 million brand. And she's a coach. So that's not $100 million with a bunch of like affiliates in her business. That she has created $100 million in cash in 5 years doing exactly what everyone said wouldn't work. So again, it's not necessarily about like what everyone says it's supposed to be. And this is the biggest problem with social media and why I don't scroll social media anymore. Like, I made a post or a story about this the other day. I read books in my downtime. Like, I watch coaching programs that I'm in my downtime. I don't scroll social media because I have learned that social media gets me into the compare-itis more than anything else. Oh, this coach says she does this. That coach says she does this. This TikToker says that you need to post, 1 time a day. This TikToker says you need to post 5 times a day. This person says you need to do this. That person says you need to do that. It's like, it's so noisy. And when you're in all of these different areas and you're like, oh, I need to try this strategy. I need to try that strategy. I need to do this. I need to do that. It's like your energy's in 1,000 different places and you don't actually move the needle to where you want it to be. And so it's like, find a strategy that you think works for you, that you know works for you, and then just go all in for that. And for me, I needed to feel connected to my content. That was most important for me. So one of my most important lessons of 2025, no, important, but I guess maybe one of my most difficult lessons of 2025 personally was I experienced a mass separation inside of my organization back in March. Now, we know, I talk about not everyone is meant to come with you. Not everyone is meant for you for a lifetime. Like, sometimes people are just meant for you for a season. But here's why this experience in this separation was is such a big deal. This separation happened with people in my business who I fully thought were my ride and dies. Like, these were people that I was so connected to. They were my friends. They, especially like one of them, okay? This person was, up until this point, one of my favorite people, like my OG in my business. Like, she was my OG. And I didn't need, when I tell you, okay, I helped her quit her job. I went through her with her pregnancy. I came and visited her. Like, I helped her for years, all in, thinking that she was my ride or die, that like we were going to the fucking top together. And then all of a sudden, completely fucking blindsided, her and a bunch of other people completely rip apart my fucking organization. Not only do they take themselves out, but they rip apart sidelines who aren't even connected to them. Completely fucking blindsided. And I've been through a couple separations before, and it's gonna happen because in the kind of business that I'm in, it's high ticket, right? Like, we're high achieving people. The people who get into high ticket and they become successful, like, they are high achieving people. And with that, there's a need for leadership. And if you don't feel like you're meeting that need, I get, like, some people want to just go off on their own and like be their own brand and be their own person. And I'm okay with that. I really am. But what would have made more sense to me is having like respect for me of, and again, this isn't to like talk down. This is literally being vulnerable with you guys and giving you like the ins and the outs of how this looks. Because when you're experiencing this from the outside, it's like, man, you know, the leaders handle this with such grace and dignity. Like they got this. And again, we do, and we did. But on the back end, this was extremely fucking painful for me. I felt so much grief. I felt so much heartache. I felt so much pain because, again, this was someone that I never saw this coming from. I never expected this from this person. And so to feel like you have someone who is like your ride or die, and then they don't even so much as have a conversation with you that like, hey, I feel like I want to go on my own. I feel like I'm, you know, grateful for everything that you've given me. And I want to try this on my own. I really think I can do this. And I love what we've built, but I want to build my own brand. Like I would have been okay with that. I would be, yes, please do what feels right for you. Do what you feel called to do is what I would have said. But the fact that I had so much respect for this person, we had such a deep, meaningful, what I thought, relationship. And then to feel the disrespect of not even having a conversation with me and ripping apart my organization was so extremely hurtful. And I have felt grief in my business before, you know, when my mentor, really did me wrong a couple years ago, and it never gets easier because as someone like me, I feel like I give a lot. I love people to the fucking fullest, and it just hurts sometimes, you know? And I just wish that like what I'm really work towards and what I really want to embody for people in this space and in this industry is, can we have like mature conversations, like emotionally mature conversations? Because we don't have to have these separations in business where it's dirty, where, you know, we're going behind each other's backs and we're sneaking around and we're gossiping and we're talking badly about people who have given to us and people who have changed our lives. Like, can we bring more emotional maturity to this industry so that if people want to part ways, it's not a bad thing? Again, people aren't meant for everyone for a lifetime, and that is okay. So can we do this in a mature way? And so, you know, my lesson in this experience was, for a while when this happened, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm not allowing people to get close to me. I'm not going to allow people to bend the boundary of mentor and mentee. Like, I'm not going to be friends with anyone in my organization. I'm going to keep everyone at an arm's length. Like, it made me want to harden my heart. It made me want to harden my shell. I didn't want to let people in. I said, I'm never going through this again. So even if people want to separate and leave, like, okay, but like, I'm not going to allow this feeling of like grief and pain to sit in and like to be affecting me anymore. Like, if people leave, then they're going to leave and fuck them, was really what I felt like for a little bit. And then after really working through this, working with my mentor, working, you know, talking this out with my husband multiple times and really feeling this, here is what I've learned from this lesson. Because if you're in business right now, or you want to be in business, or, you know, you want to have a coaching business and you have clients, like, there will be people who leave. You will help people transform their entire fucking life, and then they will leave you in the ditch. You will transform people's lives, and then they will leave you left in the dust. Like, you will transform people's lives, and then they'll create a Reddit thread about how awful and terrible you are. Like, in this space where we have, especially in the society that we have today, where we have a lot of like emotionally like unintelligent people, like, this just happens. And it's just part of life, because we can't control other people. We can only control what we do. And so what I really came to terms with, this is where I'm at with this lesson specifically. This might happen again. I don't know. I want to create a business that people stay. That is my goal. I want people to win. I want people to stay. I want people to feel seen. I want people to feel heard. I want to create a space and a community where, you know, women support women. We can celebrate each other. It doesn't, like, you can make more money. I can make more money. We'll flip flop. It doesn't matter. You be seen. I be seen. It doesn't matter. I want to create a space in a community like that. But if I know that people are going to leave, what can I learn from it? Well, what I've learned and what I'm going to take into 2026, especially, is like, I don't have to become an ice queen. I don't have to harden my shell, because here is the key point for you guys. with like this one person specifically that caused me a lot of this pain, the question is, would I give up all of our good memories in spite of the bad? So if you could tell me right now, like I can wipe your brain clean of all of the good memories, all of the laughs, all of the happy tears, all of the camaraderie, all of the celebrations, all of the, intimate talks, if I could erase all of that to erase the pain, would you? And the answer is no. I would rather keep the happy memories. I would rather keep the good and the bad. And so it's like, for me, when I go into relationships, I'm not going to love less. When I bring new people into my community and I bring in new business partners and like we're really getting in the weeds together and we're really growing and scaling, I'm going to give people my all still. And I'm not going to have this shell of like protection of keeping people at arm's length, because if we have just like our greatest love affair for a season, I still wouldn't get rid of those memories. Even with like the hard experience that I had in 2022, like, would I give up my memories with that person who caused me a lot of grief? No. So again, it's like we can become an ice queen where we don't let anyone in, where we don't give love, where we don't give compassion, where we're just robots. We're here to just like coach, that's it. But it's like the part that makes business beautiful for me, at least, is the relationships, is the connections, is the memories that we create together. And so my goal in this lesson is like, I'm going to love people completely, fully, with my heart on my sleeve. And if they want to like create me and a change, flip on me that like I'm something different than what they thought, or they disregard where we've gone, like that's their prerogative and it's not mine. I'm not going to love people any less. And this has been like a really fucking hard lesson for me in my lifetime, because I do feel a lot and I feel a lot of pain and I feel a lot of grief sometimes. And when it feels like people don't see me or people don't love me, when I feel like I've given that to them, it is fucking hard. And so my lesson for you to take away from this is, don't not build your business. Don't not let people in because of the fear of like, well, what if they leave, or what if they shatter my heart or whatever. It's like, let people in. Let people love you back. And then, if that dynamic changes, it changes. But as long as you stay true to who you are, like that's what really matters. So I love the space you've created. That's exactly why I stayed after the split. I love you so much, Jess. Okay. So in this, like this has been, a lot of my biggest lessons in 2025. And what I've realized is that what I can be honest and transparent about is this wobbled my belief. This wobbled my identity. Like this whole year wobbled my belief, wobbled my identity, made me feel like I went from feeling like I was on top of the world in 2024 to like questioning my entire fucking life choices in 2025. Like when you go from having $100,000 cash months to like a major income dip in like 1 month, in like a $40,000 cash month, that can fuck with your brain if you're not ready for it. But what I've learned is that those can be moments in time, and it's okay if we have moments in time where we wobble. It's how we rebound from that is what matters. And a lot of people stay stuck in the wobble. They have the feeling of, well, maybe I'm not meant for this, and they stay there. And what I can say that I'm so proud of myself for in 2025 is I had a lot of moments of wobble where I was like, fuck, I don't know if I even want to do this. I probably can, but do I want to? Do I go get a job as a social worker again? But those were very fleeting moments where it was like, I'm going to pick myself back up and I'm going to stay in integrity and I'm going to do what I need to do, because having grace and integrity through all of this has been a challenge, when sometimes I do want to pop off. Sometimes I do want to stay a victim. Sometimes I do want to just, flip the table and say like, F all of this. But I've realized that, shrinking parts of myself to feel safer is not the route that I want to go in 2026. So here's like where I'm kind of going in 2026 moving forward, because one of the last lessons that I want to talk about, which I know we're getting close to like an hour on this live. I told you guys it would be long. Like keep it if you need to keep it and come back to it. But one of the things that I learned and experienced in 2025 was I dimmed my voice so much. What do I mean by that? In a time where we have such political nonsense happening in the country, I dimmed my voice, even when the people around me were very loud about theirs. I dimmed my voice and my beliefs because of fear of what people might think, because of fear of what people on my team might think, because there's some people who have very different beliefs than me. I dimmed and lowered my voice when people needed me. And so I'm a social worker by trade. Okay. I have a bachelor's degree in social work. I've worked in the field for a long time, and that is not by accident. Okay. I became a social worker when I did because I wanted to be a voice for people who didn't have a voice. I am an activist at heart. Okay. For people struggling with addiction, for people of color, for youth who don't have a voice. Like, that is my fucking, like, that is just me innately. And I dimmed my voice on what I believe and standing for what I believe is right because some people around me have different beliefs. And going into 2026, I will no longer fucking do that. Like, I just won't. I will stand up for people who don't have a voice. I will stand up for people of color who are being racially profiled and deported for just their race. I will stand up for the children who are being shot in our school systems because people don't give a fuck about mental health or gun rights. Like, I will start fighting for people in 2026 because that we need more of. And so I dimmed my entire voice in 2025 because of fear of what people might think. And I'm just no longer going to do that. I dimmed my voice about, fighting for people and standing up for what's right. I dimmed my voice to hide my spirituality because what if people who are super religious don't like my spirituality? But why should I hide my spirituality because your religion? If you can't be open about me, then why should I be open about you? And this has been one of my biggest conflicts in life is that I fully live by looking for people's similarities and not differences. I don't care what you believe. I don't care your political beliefs. I don't care your religious beliefs. I don't care about your beliefs. I care about how we can connect. What similarities do we have? And I think more people need that. Need to learn how to look for people's similarities because there is so much hate. There is so much confliction in our world today because everyone is looking for the differences. You think different, I think different, we're bad, we're enemies. And I think that is what is causing so much fucking separation on our planet. And so I want to use my voice and my platforms to bring people together. I want to use my voice and my platforms to fight for people who don't have a voice. And I'm tired of not feeling like I have a voice because of the fear of what people might think or the fear of what people might say. But if you have a problem with me caring about other humans, if you have a problem about me, giving love to people who don't have a voice and giving a fuck about the humans that are on this planet, then maybe we don't vibe anyway. And so that is something that I did is I dimmed my truth. I dimmed who I truly was just in spite of fear. And I'm not going to do that anymore. So if I have thoughts, I'm going to share them. If I have things I want to say, I'm going to share them because everyone else feels comfortable to share theirs, but for some reason I don't. And so growth requires this level of self-trust. It requires this level of honesty. It requires this level of transparency. Now, that doesn't mean I am going and creating my whole platforms around, the things that I want to be louder about, but it's the simple fact that I'm not going to hide in fear anymore. You don't like when I talk about money? Sorry, I'm going to talk about money. You don't like when I talk about spirituality? Sorry, I'm going to talk about spirituality in the universe. You don't like when I talk about, husbands who aren't supportive? Sorry, I'm going to talk about husbands who aren't supportive. Moving into the new year, I'm just going to, my goal, we'll see how it goes, but my goal is to stand more in my truth. Stand more in my truth, stand more in my beliefs, stand more in fighting for what I think is right, fighting for who I think is right, fighting for my mission, fighting for other people. I'm going to just be true to who I am. So creating content in a way that feels good for me, creating a brand in a way that feels good for me, creating a hope and inspiration in a way that feels good for me, helping other people, loving to the fucking fullest. How can I do that even more than I already have? And so just know that if you're going through the massive seasons of shedding, if you're going through the feelings of not being seen or not being heard, it's not that you're behind. It's just that you're being initiated. And so what lessons are you currently experiencing and what wisdom can you gain from it? And that's why I think doing these like years in review are so important, because if you forget to look back on the lessons that we had, you're not going to gain the wisdom from what you were supposed to learn. And if you never learn or if you don't gain the wisdom from the lesson that you're meant to learn, you're going to repeat the lesson. Okay? The universe will make you repeat the lesson until you learn it. And that's when patterns appear. When a pattern appears in your life, know that that pattern is there because you're supposed to learn something from it. And once you learn what you're supposed to learn from it, you can release the pattern. But until you do that, you won't. So if you are reviewing 2025 and you're like, man, 2025 was yet another year where I said I wanted to get out of my job and I didn't get out of my job. Like, what do we need to learn from that? 2025 was the year I said that I was going to, find my dream relationship and I didn't. What the fuck do we need to learn from that? This was going to be the year that you said you were going to get out of debt and you didn't. What do we need to learn from that? Negative relationships keep appearing in your life. Toxicity keeps appearing in your life. Negative thoughts keep appearing in your life. Things keep appearing. What do we need to learn? But this is what people miss. So when we come up to the end of a year, the end of a cycle, it's like, what can we learn and what wisdom can we gain? And so hashing out these lessons for the last hour, was really so that we can talk about the things that I have learned through the trial and error, because it wasn't always easy. There was a lot to celebrate. There was so much good that happened in 2025, but there was also so many lessons. And had I gone through all of these experiences in 2025 and I didn't have any wisdom to gain from it, that would be a problem. So if you're sitting here and you're like, yeah, I'm good. I don't have anything to learn. I kind of know everything. I don't need a lot. There's not really much to learn. 2025 is kind of like a null and void year. Like, that's a problem. So I highly, highly encourage you, when you sit down over the next day or two, pick a day and really review your year. Really look at the good that happened. Go back through your photos, go back through your social media, look at the good that happened. Lock in the celebrations of 2025. And then look at the challenges. Look at the things that really fucking made you question life. Look at the experiences that you had. What wisdom can you gain? Because that wisdom that we gain is what helps us evolve into who we're meant to be. Like, there's going to continue to be lessons in your life, and how you, show up to these lessons and anchor in these lessons really is going to dictate who you become. Like, these lessons is like how we move through these lessons, and what we learn is how we step into who we're meant to be. So not everything happens just because. Not everything is just happening to us, right? Everything is happening for us to become our highest self. Everything is happening to us so that we can self-actualize into who the fuck we're meant to be. And so if you go through life and you're like, I don't have any lessons, like, that is a fucking problem. So I highly encourage you guys, do this year in review and then come back to the comments here on YouTube and let me know, what celebrations are you locking in? Let's fucking celebrate. And then what were your biggest lessons that you learned in 2025? What were they? And how are you going to move different in 2026? Because I learned a lot in 2025, and I promise you, going into 2026, we're going to do things a lot differently. People who are attached to me are going to literally explode in testimonials and in growth and in money and in self-actualization. People are going to fucking win who are in my ether in 2026, because I'm willing to embody the level of leadership that I need to take people with me. And I'm willing to be transparent about these hard things, because I think that that's what you need as a leader. I think that in leadership, you need people who are willing to be vulnerable and talk about what this really looks like, because it's not just rainbows, butterflies, sunshine all of the time when you're running a multi-million-dollar organization, when you're a wife, when you're a mom. There's so much to learn. And we didn't even get into any lessons of motherhood and being a wife and personally, there was lessons there too. And so for me, I'm grateful because coming into 2026, my birthday is right in February, right at the beginning of the year. I get to lock in a whole new, I get to lock in beautiful things that are going to happen, and the embodiment of who I'm becoming and where I'm going and where I'm taking my team and where I'm taking my business and just everything. So I love you guys so freaking much. I hope that you do the exercise that I talked about, and I hope that you have an incredible 2026. Please come back, share your lessons, share your celebrations. I want to lock them in with you, and I will see you guys next time.